I, as your liberty-loving Latino, believe that China has earned a place in the hot seat. But socialist Democrats, they're still bending over backwards to protect the communists. Joining us now, former Trump administration National Intelligence Director, former ambassador to Germany, and current Newsmax contributor, Rick Grenell. Always great to see you, sir. A report surfaced that a Chinese defector is in custody and is warning the Defense Intelligence Agency of further bioweapons research, among other things, in China. The reporting by Red State and independent journalist Adam Housley said the DIA didn't tell CIA, FBI, the State Department, other agencies about this defector because DIA leadership believes there are Chinese spies or sources inside those agencies. From your time in government, is DIA's concern valid?
Look, I don't want to get into any great details on this specific case because it delves into some areas that would be hard to comment and make an argument when you're dealing with classified information. But let me just say this. We are confident that every single charge is looked at and immediately dealt with. When I was acting DNI, there were several times there would be these claims or charges, and we would always immediately run them down, sometimes take action, and sometimes they would be false. But make no mistake that within the U.S. government, we have a very good system to know who's leaking. I think the bigger question is we know who are the leakers. The issue, I would say, is that the leadership needs to take fast and swift action against those leakers and not try to allow justification for why something appeared to be a leak when it wasn't. Many times, it's pretty obvious that the information is being shared in an unauthorized way.
Well, let's talk about something we can talk about that's more in the public sphere. Dianne Feinstein. She was carted around by a Chinese spy for 19 years. Eric Swalwell literally slept with the enemy, another Chinese spy. How compromised are elected leaders by Communist China and their government?
Well, what I can say is that we have a real problem with how China has been able to successfully infiltrate into a variety of different industries, academia, journalism. They have gone after our politicians at the local level and at the state and federal level. We have had more defensive briefings given to politicians who the intelligence community has had to go to these politicians and proactively tell them that they're in a sticky situation or they're talking to people that are spies. Many times we know that they know, but some of the actions will try to innocently continue because they don't feel like they're giving away state secrets, for instance. But many times politicians are surprised by these defensive briefings and they immediately change their behavior. That's what we're looking for, is more information given to our politicians. And by the way, academia and business community they also get these defensive briefings when it's warranted.
In my mind, what's going on with Joe Biden, I believe he's compromised. His moves, pro-Iranian moves, his moves pro-Russian with the energy industry, and now he's lifting this ban on TikTok, the data harvesting apps of TikTok and WeChat. Now, China today, they pet Mr. Biden on the head, saying it was a, quote, positive step. Ambassador, are you troubled by all of the moves, not only by Mr. Biden advantaging communist China, but his moves advantaging Russia and his moves advantaging Iran?
Look, there's a lot in that question. Let me be very specific so that we can be very accurate. I'm extremely troubled by the decision to allow TikTok to continue harvesting data in the United States. When you deal with communist China, you don't have a choice. You might think that you have some sort of a joint partnership with another entity and that you can block it off, but you are sadly mistaken. Your information goes straight into the hands of communist China. there is no way to block it off. And so I think that we need to move swiftly to understand that what the Chinese did, the lessons of COVID, the lessons of Wuhan, are that they are aggressive in their leverage against us, and we should require, I've said this before and I believe it firmly, we should require any company that's doing business on the intelligence or defense side with the United States government, we should require them to never do business in China. I don't believe that you can put up a firewall in between the information. And so you should choose, if you're going to work in the intelligence or defense space, whether you work for China and Chinese companies, communist China, or whether you work for the United States.
Army General Mark Milley says he's wary of the Chinese military buildup. It's rapidly growing in power, he says. He says it's paramount that we maintain our edge here in the United States. But just today, a memo revealed that Joe Biden's budget forces our Navy to cut construction of high-tech ships. Defense cuts will likely, they say, mean fewer nuclear weapons, fewer warships in our arsenal. It doesn't sound like Mr. Biden is the man for this job. And you say, Ambassador?
I was extremely proud to work in the Trump administration where we did two things that were very different. First of all, Donald Trump didn't start any new wars, and he tried to talk to people like Kim Jong-un and tried to be able to engage in a way that engagement worked so that you benchmark whether or not it's working. I believe that you have to have an aggressive defense budget for the United States. You need to send the message that if we have to use our military power, we have the best in the world. But we also have to send a message that we're not looking to pick fights. We're not looking to export our American men and women into harm's way. I think it's incredibly important to try to not start new wars, get along with everybody, but also have as a backup, in case you need it, the best military with the technological advancements unknown to anyone else.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.